Are you kidding me? Hello, Grace. Welcome. Watch for the big smiley face coming. See him? Saw 3 smiley faces, didn't you? This is in Maryland, and we'll talk about 1812. There's a bunch of smiley faces in there. Grace, it's not from the sound waves in the ionosphere, darling. There's another reason for it. We'll get into that tonight. All these ones in the background, way out in the distance. Multiple vortex all over the place. One's back in here, one's way over there, one's way back in there. One's in the middle there. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back, but nobody believed me. Well, guess what? Here we go. Let's get this pulled up. Here we are, 6/6 of 2024. If you said 6/6/24, well, you had 22 and 4. Oh, that's a 6 also, so kind of a weird date. let's just say. Only comes around ever so often. So here we are at stereo A because there's still no data from Soho, but that's okay because look at what we got here at stereo A. Boom. And right up there too. Okay. And we still don't get to see the big filament eruption. Well, we can go back to the 5th, but this is all that they had of that filament eruption from yesterday. So there's still no data on that one. And I have a feeling I know why, because when I looked at the when I look at the one image they did provide, I can see what's going on in there from one frame. Okay, so there's your activity that happened today on 6/6/24. All right, I'll let that loop play for a second until a few more people get in there. Yes, Grace, they are hiding it from you, but I'm not. I'll probably be the only one to show it to you. There's no one else. I don't think anybody has the courage to talk about this stuff. Tell you what, it ruined my reputation, but that's okay. I do it for the Lord, not for my reputation. Okay, so here we are. Here's Buckeye Jim. How, buddy? How you doing, man? Welcome. And you know what? While we're sitting here for a minute, I forgot to thank you and welcome you and thank you for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. And some of you know how precious this family truly is. Okay. There's your loop. All right, not much to really go through frame by frame. You can kind of see it. This is all 1 hour frames anyway, so we don't get to see too much. The evolution actually looks better when it's moving. So there's your activity from today. Let's get over here to the solar ham. And brighten up the screen because I dimmed it for that tornado. Wasn't that tornado crazy? Okay, and that was in Maryland. And I'll explain the significance of that tornado touching down in Maryland. There's very, very significant sign right there. And I'll get into it later. But for right now, let's get into our solar report. Back to business here. All right, let's zoom in real quick because I want to take a peek here. I want you guys to see a little up close here, our nice little spike that we had today. It didn't reach X-class flare, but it was a pretty healthy one. We were bouncing along, boing, 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 kind of a bumpy road, and then we had our good M-class flare here. Came way down afterwards, but then ba-doom, boom, and then into this next day. So I really wouldn't take you over here because the data's not even up. So we're going to just wait until tomorrow to look at the next day's data. All right, so now while we're here, I'm just going to scoot it over. Our solar flux index is still at 191. It's fluctuating. It was almost about to break 200, and this one was even higher. This is the sunspot number, and this one was even higher than the solar flux index, which is very, very rare. I've never seen that happen before. So, but we're back to kind of normal. Our sunspot number's down, and our solar flux index is still pretty relatively high. 9 more points, and then we're in the red. So now let me kind of zoom out there. Oh, yeah, that's something else I wanted to take a peek at here while we got you at this. So here is your solar sunspot number progression. Okay, this is your SSN, your sunspot number. Okay, and now look at what we were forecasted. Okay, and this is outside, the gray area is outside the normal. This is below normal. That's above normal. Now look at our average. This jump is averaged out. Okay, so you see our purple line getting averaged out, and it started to come back down. See this spike right here, and then activity started to die off. So this spike was climbing to right here and then leveled off again, but look how high it's jumped now. So now that's going to go up again, and we're going to exceed way outside the maximum of our sunspot number. Okay, There's your solar flux as well. Okay, it's way, way above what was forecasted, and then what was out above, extreme and below extreme. So both of them are not doing too well. All right. So what I wanted to do is come back over here. Oh, we're too zoomed in. One more dimension back. There we go. So getting into our geomagnetic forecast, all clear for the next 3 days. That's as far as coming from the sun. All right. So we have been having geomagnetic storming or effects from something other than our sun, because we've been having storming that was unforecasted, unless they're, these stealth CMEs or, whatever they're going to say. So geomagnetic forecast, good to go for the next 3 days. Hopefully that's the truth, and that'll be good. Our M-class flare today was a 6.1, all right? And it was out of region 97. All three of these are still out of region 97, okay? So that one's still very, very active, very dangerous, okay? Here it is right here, beta, gamma, delta. We also have another one in the red now. 3703 has gone beta, gamma. So let's come up here, pop this open. There's 3703 right there, right kind of in the middle of the disc. I can do this for us, though. That's a little bit better. Slide it over that way. All right, so there's 97, the big patch right there that's been firing out. That's old 64 right there. And then this is our new player right here, 3703. And you can see its configuration. Okay, it's beta gamma, hasn't gotten too close yet. We don't have delta configuration like red on blue right there. So but we got to watch out for this. These things have a tendency to like blossom up really quickly, and then sometimes they decay quickly. Now here's another one, these just perfectly round symmetrical spots again. Just very odd, because most of these are very, very clumpy in nature. Magnetic field lines are very erratic and jump around and move around and stuff. So to have a perfectly symmetrical signature like this, well, it's just a little, we've seen it once before. I think it's an indicator of one of our objects right around it. Okay, so let me pan back and go back. Okay, so there's your two regions to watch for. This one's still kind of center disk a little bit. All right, here's your KP. Our KP is like 3 right here, or 2 and a little over 2. So very low. That's good. We don't need to be taking on a bunch of energy, like I always say. Here's your auroras. In fact, let's just back out and open up auroras. I see a little hint of yellow going on in here. So we might be getting a little jump in our KP here in the future. We might see a little yellow spike the next one or the one after that here around 4, 3.5, maybe to 4, depending on how intense this this latest little round is. Okay. No events on the tracker. Let's go ahead and just get into this article here. AR97, old 64, continues to produce solar flares, not just the eruptive variety, which is not good news for those who crave coronal mass ejections and geomagnetic storms. This M6.1 flare peaked on Thursday at 1506 on June 6th. 6-6. Okay. It seems apparent that a repeat of last month is not in the cards this time around. Yay, because we don't need another G5 geomagnetic storm again. I mean, it was good little test of our system to see what we could handle and stuff. But the Earth does not need to be absorbing a bunch of radiation. Okay. Just going to pop this open. You see this one coming off the backside, kind of going that direction. So that's good. Nothing really showing Earth impact here, so that's okay. I'm back out of that. This huge filament. See, where was that one image? Oh, it's on the other article. All right, before we back away from this, can I get this whole screen? That's better. Is it blurry again? We all good? I think it's okay. I think we may have fixed it. Thank you for letting me know. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Buckeye. Yeah. If there's ever a problem, don't be afraid to let me know. I'm rinky dink operation here. Okay. I'm not the. Oh, cool. Thank you, guys. The responses back help too. I just got the simple operation. I'm lucky to have this phone that's working, to tell you the truth. So there's your big filament release that we don't get to see on the difference model. And I really, because, well, let's get on over to this article here. Now, look at this. A nova will explode this summer, probably. We'll get into that. Let's first do the sunspot, highest sunspot number in 22 years. The average sunspot number, the SSN, for May 2024 was 172, the highest value in 22 years. And so far, June is even higher at 200. Remember, we saw that SSN jump up to 200? Okay, so if this continues for the rest of the month, June could log the highest December of 2001, rivaling the peak of the potent solar cycle 23. Oh, thank you very much. I feel exhausted at around 6 or 7-ish last night. Well, thank you, Buckeye. It's good to hear every once in a while some positive feedback. Thank you. Back to our article now, though. So our high sunspot count, 200 already, even higher at 200 for June. All right, so we're going to blast through and I have record sunspot number, okay? It rivaling, we might even beat cycle because it's only June 6th. A sunspot number was at 200. So I'm pretty sure we might break that 2001 cycle 23 thing. Now, a nova will explode this summer. Whoops, let's get it all in the frame right there. I wanted most of the picture there for you. Similar to a lot of the stuff that I described a little bit. Almost kind of hinting at something a little bit almost seems like in this picture. Anyway, back to the article. A nova might explode this summer. The night sky is about to get a new star. Sometime this summer, astronomers believe a nova will explode in the constellation Corona Borealis, the Northern Crown. The Northern Crown. Okay. The exploding star will be bright enough to see with the naked eye, even from light-polluted cities. Okay, that will be shocking for most people. It is a once-in-a-lifetime event, says Rehab or whatever Goodard. I believe it will create a lot of new astronomers out there. Yeah, they'll be blinded by blind ones because Nova burned out the Corona Borealis is a binary system. What? A binary system 3,000 light years from Earth. Hint, hint, binary system 3,000 miles from Earth. I mean, light years from Earth. It consists of a white dwarf orbiting an ancient red giant. Hydrogen from the red giant is being pulled down onto the surface of the white dwarf, accumulating toward a critical mass. Eventually, it will trigger a thermonuclear explosion. We'll see about that. The last time TCRB exploded was in 1946. About a year before the blast, the system suddenly dimmed, a pattern astronomers called the pre-eruption dip. All right, in 2023, TCRB dipped again, heralding a new eruption. If the 1946 pattern repeats itself, the nova should occur between now and September 2024. Note this month. right there, September 2024. Okay, remember that month. Get ready. Everybody just get ready for September 2024. Okay. Despite this article, okay, has nothing to do with this article, but everybody get ready for September 2024 if you make it there. All right, so here's a beautiful little map describing the location. It's right outside Corona Borealis, or the Northern Crown. Huh. Signs in the stars. Northern Crown. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Outburst will be brief. Once it erupts, the nova will be visible to the naked eye for less than a week. Oh, that's a quick outburst. Less than a week. Okay, but Hansel is confident it will be quite a sight to see. The expected magnitude is between +2 and +3, similar to stars in the Big Dipper. Nova events are faint and far away. Astrophysicist at laboratory, NASA Goddard. This one will be really close. This one will be really close with a lot of eyes on it. Maybe so close it's our sun that's supernovaing. Maybe 1,000 light years from Earth. That's 3,000 miles from the sun. Typically, nova events are faint and far away. This one will be really close with a lot of eyes on it. We can't wait to get a full picture of what's going on. I'll show you what's going on. Come on over here. All right, that's it for that article. You should come over here, visit this site. These guys do a good job. All right, coming over here to your Schumann. Look at what happened. We were talking about this event right here last night, and it was starting to taper off. We had a couple little grinding sessions. Pressure built up again and waned. Built up again and waned. But this time, you see how these are. Well, they build up and then they wane. They're oval shaped. They grow in intensity and then wane in intensity instead of just all of a sudden and then all of a sudden stop. This is more conducive of having more perforations or more relief valves in the surface of the earth via earthquakes, volcanoes, and now fissures, fires, expulsion of SO2, kinds of stuff that relieves pressure, right? So right after this event, we started to taper off. Something else happened. We grew in intensity, tapered off. Something else happened. We grew in intensity and tapered off. Now, we're not taking on energy from the sun. It's not like we're getting hit with the CME here, or got hit with the CME a couple of days before, and then the core reacts. Something else is affecting our planet's core, and we are starting to see pressure buildups down below without a solar impact. Now, this could be like echoing effects from our G5 storm that we took on not too long ago, because the amount of energy that we took on there, we should have seen something very, very radical happen. Okay. And we really didn't. We see buildups and releases of pressure, but nothing too intense. So this activity, without a KP of a 4 or 5 or something like that, where we're absorbing a lot of energy, because see, that's why I was a stickler for absorption, because I don't want this activity to happen. Okay, this activity is happening now without the sun now. It happens with the sun as well, but something else is causing our core to heat up, swell, and grind on the shell. They both heat up and swell kind of into each other, and they start to grind, and they stop spinning so well, I should say, and produce a nice straight magnetic field. It starts to get disrupted and, gets weak, it gets strong, all kinds of stuff. And this disrupts all kinds of stuff. Some of you have been experiencing pain, mood swings, anxiety, excitement. It does all kinds of different stuff. The dynamo inside the Earth, the core spinning inside the molten shell, creates a magnetic field that reaches out past the crust and out into space. That's our protection. That magnetic field hums just like the power lines, that stretch across the road. The electromagnetic field hums at a resonance at 7.83, what people call the heartbeat of the Earth. Well, the Schumann resonance is 7.83. That's your dynamo working nice and smooth. Then pressure builds up. It starts to grind down there at the barrier where the core and the shell, or the core is supposed to be spinning inside the shell. Now they're grabbing onto each other and grinding, creating high, intense, low frequency. These are low frequency waves, okay? But down to 40 hertz, from 0 through all the microwaves, okay? 0 to 0.00004, 0005, all those microwaves all the way up to 1, and then all from 1 all the way down to 40 hertz. So it's hitting all of those bands, all those frequencies very intensely, down to like 32 hertz right here, very intensely. White denotes the intensity of it, okay? Then it, like I said, you can see it gets intense and it stops. Now we have more regular activity where it builds up nicely, tapers off, builds up, tapers off. Okay, so I think this is, like I said, an indicator of our new perforation or our new relief valve, okay, which we'll continue to monitor here. And as we're coming out the backside here, let me just re-update this, give it the freshest little refresh if we can. Okay, and we're going kind of back to normal activity here. So it's been very, very intense here. We had another little indicator blast here. Now, something else. These frequencies, 20 and what is this, 13, and then we get this one down here at 24. A lot of times we see activity down at this region without stuff in the middle. It seems to be where our crust is, because frequency waves will travel through magma faster than they would through the crust. So when they hit the crust, they slow down, thus your lower frequencies, okay? So when you're getting into 20s or something right around there, is like your crust. So we're having some kind of activity in the crust. Down the magma is usually like right around this level, creates like a little hit right here. So I have a feeling that maybe our magma is rubbing up against the bottom of the crust, producing this, as well as the grinding down below too. So we'll watch this carefully. We came out of it, we tapered out of it nicely. A few little instant stabs, but they didn't get very intense. They relieved quite quickly. All right, so hopefully this is a good indicator right here that we have a new release valve. It also indicated that pressure built up. Okay, it was enough pressure to cause the core and the shell to start to grind in the barrier. All right, so let's pull up this. Anybody need a diagram of the core of the Earth and the shell and how that dynamo works? If you do, I will be happy to pull up a diagram on YouTube, and we'll discuss that. I've done it before. If you need to, we can. But for the moment, let's finish this up. We got our upper jet stream racing across the Canadian border, hooking up with this little flow coming over there. It's not too concerning. What I'm concerned about is as we get lower, you can see this correlation now over the United States. And then look out here in the Pacific, what's happening with our jet stream out here. We're going to go down to our storm levels now. And do you see what I see? That is quite a storm heading towards the Pacific Northwest. Okay. And look at all this activity coming, cold air coming out of like Hudson Bay area, across Canada, and then shooting down into the Ohio River Valley area. More moist air still kind of look coming up from the Gulf right in this region. So they're going to slam together right at that barrier right there. And that's where we're going to see some of our activity possibly. Especially, oh man, when this thing moves across the country, look out. Let's back out a little bit. We'll spin around. That's probably our biggest storm on the planet right now. Except for like down here in the Antarctic, which is they're going into winter time. Oop, what's going on up there? Yeah. Oh, what the heck? Are you looking at me? Is that Trump with his hair? No. What the heck? I think it is. All right. Back to seriousness here. Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing, Lord. Okay, so we have this monster storm here barreling down on the west coast there. And we'll have to watch this one when we get into our forecast model tonight. Okay, so there's your weather. I want to take you also over to our sandstorms. Look how this arm has like curled back and is reaching back this way, going across this. Now, look how the wind has taken sand up into Spain. Spain's having a sandstorm right now. Probably in the next day or two, you'll see footage coming out of Portugal, Spain area of a sandstorm hitting them. Okay, you also see it going across the Mediterranean right there, going up. Actually, this rotation is pulling some of it up in there, but look how it's pulling it down too. Interesting. I've been noticing very, very disruptive flow asymmetries. Our air, flows like water, okay? And there are certain characteristics that are just normal behavior that you're used to seeing. It's it's the staples of flow asymmetries that we base a lot of it on. And now it just seems to be that some of these aren't making sense. But we'll get into that stuff later. I have a feeling it might be some of the spherical action, the spheroids I showed you before, producing different kind of wind pattern activity that just does not make sense. Okay, anyways, you see how this curling effect is coming out into the Atlantic. It kind of rescued it from going on up in there. And let's get over to the other one first. No. I am slow down, Brian. Okay, look. Well, make sure we're on the right date too. 6/7/2024. All right, good. All right, I want to make sure we start the report with the right date. Okay, so where'd my pointer go? As you can see, we got a country divided here. We can't figure out right from wrong, and we can't figure out where the guts to do anything about it. You can see this side of the nation is bleeding out with SO2. This side of the nation very pockmarked, and here and there volcanic sites and stuff. But as you see, we got this country that's And all of our flash flooding area that was plugging up some of the regions here has cleared up. And now you can see our SO2 is back to flowing normally out of the little perforations. It's not jammed up or anything. Oh, man. I thought so. Okay. Here on the West Coast, I live on the ridge of the Sierras, right along that, and I can look down the ridge of the Sierras and see Mammoth Mountain. In fact, I showed you a plume of a thunderhead, a single lone thunderhead that camped out over that mountain. Okay, it wasn't a steam plume, but it was a heat. It was a thermal heat structure going up into the air that caused the air to convect. All right. Right here is our spot, and now it's seeping SO2. Okay. A lot of it, too. More than it kind of relieved that area by the Bay Area right here. So, a little update, everybody. This region here down by Mammoth Mountain kind of coming to life and starting to spew some SO2. As we come up through here, you can see like Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, some of them kicking out a little bit. And that's what happens when the pressure builds up. These old dormant volcanoes will fart a little bit of SO2 out, come to life, and you'll see a little blast of it, and then, you know, pressure dissipates and it goes away. I'll try to get my tripod just right here. There we go. So backing out, look at this. This storm has like really cleared out all the gas right in front of it. It's rotating, sucking up air from down below, but it's incorporated into that storm still. Now, oh wait, we didn't do South America while we're here. Another region I failed to kind of point out that's been just going to town is Jamaica here. It's been this dark purple spot for a long, long time. And it still is. But as we come down the coast of South America, all of these are individual sites, okay, along the foothills of the Andes Mountains there. And right here is our fulcrum point, plate boundary fulcrum point. And you can see it's our most, our dominant area where pressure builds and pushes more gas out at that one spot. And we always come by here, check this spot, see how it's doing. The other ones looks kind of normal, back to, well, I'd say our regular 7 to 8 or 7 type pressure. All dark through there. Usually this part lightens up, but it's still there. So decent pressure still going on, even though it's kind of done grinding. It looks like we still got some decent pressure going on around here. Okay. Here's your Oahu, Maui. Wow, look at this. Main Island. But now look here. We have a plume out in the water. See this plume growing out in the water? Let me put on the winds. Just make sure it's not coming off the island. Yeah, that's coming from, it's all three of these kind of coming together, making a little low pressure pocket where this gas is collected. So that's not a pocket coming up out of the water, but it is the airflow patterns. See how they all condense and collect right there? So a little pocket of the SO2 because of these three emission sites, at least. Take the wind down. Guys having fun? Good. Hopefully you learn and enjoy while you're learning, because otherwise it's no fun. All right. No one wants to learn if it's not fun. All right, so you can check out China right here, just spewing a lot of SO2. Every time pressure builds up, this area gets very dark. We got it coming up out of this region as well, and down into the Koreas as well. Meanwhile, we got these areas here in Japan that are still doing, their little mountaintops, still doing their things. India has its issues. You can see everything outside the foothills of the Himalayas right there. Everything outside of those, from those foothills down, is all bleeding out SO2 there. You got the whole Middle East is bleeding out SO2. All of Europe. And like I said before, one time there was 4 of these little dots on the coast of California, and I think it was BP Earthwatch brought it to everyone's attention, and man, it got a lot of attention. But now look at the entire globe is doing this, and it's like nobody bats an eye. But I'm going to continue to report on it because it's probably the most important information, and if no one else is going to do it, I'll do it. Okay, there we go with our SO2. Really? I don't want to do it. I just did that last night. Okay. This is SO4. Okay. Sulfur with 4 oxygen atoms per molecule. Okay. So it's a sulfate. I call it sulfur quad oxide because of the 4 oxygen atoms. All right. Well, this SO4 is a particulate. Water likes to bond with it. Okay. Like other particulates. When it bonds with this particulate, SO4, it creates a chemical called H2SO4, which is better known as sulfuric acid. So we're going to inherit a lot of sulfuric acid rain in this process. And these are all particulates, as well as the ash that goes up in every volcanic blast. So is this a particulate that water would bond to. Remember, water likes to adhere to a particulate. Well, this particulate, SO4, water likes to adhere to it. But when it adheres to it, it has a chemical reaction, and it turns into sulfuric acid. It's no longer water, it's sulfuric acid. And this is all particulates that are all fuel for sulfuric acid. And if we have more heat plumes, oh, that's why you got me doing it. I get it. Now, when we got these heat plumes out here, where are we going? Hold up. Right there. And that would be the 5th. Okay, so now we got all these particulates in the air. We also have thermal heat coming off the ocean floor. All right. This is making the water very, very hot and more conducive to evaporate into the vapor into the air. Okay. Now, the air has a mixture of hydrogen or of nitrogen and oxygen, and there's different compounds in your air, okay? And there's water in your air. It's the water vapor. When you put a cup of ice out, you'll see water vapor condense on the side of your glass. That's the water that's in the air, okay? If you're ever out in the desert and you don't have any water, you can dig a pit, put some plastic over it, push it down for a while, cool it off in the shade, and make it cooler than the air around it, and water will condense on it, and you could get water out of the air instead of digging in the dirt. Okay? Old trick from the Navy. So you get a lot more content, a lot more water in your air now. So what was like 10% the air is water vapor. Well, now it's 20%. Now it's 30%. Now it's getting even up to higher percentage levels. So when you have more water in the air and you have more SO4 in the air to combine with the water that is in the air, we're a runaway train. You see what I'm saying? And I can't just bounce back and forth between those, Brian. Okay. So now with that understood, here is your generator for a lot of hot water. okay, is going to put a lot more water vapor, a lot more steam, or, when you take a shower, the steam that's in the bathroom right there, it's going to put that kind of water vapor into the air. The air is going to get really heavy and thick with water. Okay, the concentrations are going to be a lot thicker, and the thicker the concentrations of water, well, the more water wants to adhere to more particles, and we just introduced a ton more particles. That means rainfall contents, a storm is going to dump 4 times more rain than it normally would. Okay, so our water production values out of a storm have increased several fold. I won't give a specific number. That would probably freak you out if you knew how many fold your water vapor has like doubled, tripled in your air. Okay. Now, as we come back over here, you can see all these regions here. This is all volcanic activity under the water on the ocean floor. Okay. And that is also going to stir up deep water animals. All right. Deep water creatures that live out in this is the cold section of the northern Pacific. This is where the big predators hang out. Okay, cold water. This is where most of your fish hang out. So your bigger predators are going to hang out where the food source is. Now that you've stirred up, or we've stirred up the heat on the bottom, it's driving those cold water and creatures up higher into the water column, searching for cooler water. Pretty soon they won't find cooler water, and they're going to have to migrate around, and we're going to start encountering some strange creatures that resided down at the deep. Ones we've questioned. We've seen their existence previous in history and questioned if they were still possibly around, and they are. Okay, we'll see some creatures. I think I've already showed you a couple of them, if you know what I mean. Pressure in this region has kind of calmed down a little bit. It was this little yellow spot for a minute, and then it kind of calmed down. This is our little relief valve here at our fulcrum point. So this is doing its little job. There's not a bunch of yellow surrounding it because pressure can't build up there in order to break through the ocean floor, I think, and create, hot pockets, these little yellow plumes. Where's that one in Japan? That's something on the ocean floor right there, spewing magma. Okay. I'll have to pull up some video of these vents on the ocean floor when magma comes out, and it solidifies really fast when it hits the water, but it makes the water boil right around the opening. Okay. And then that boiling water is hot, it diffuses out, it takes a while for it to cool off. The sooner it interacts with cold water, it'll start to either cool off or it will create a boundary in a current. Let's put these currents on here real quick. Note how this one hotspot has created its own circular vortex. This vortex is not interacting with anything else. If anything, it's generating anticyclonic vortexes around it. Okay, opposite spinning vortexes above and next to it. All right, so the hot water is rising up from the bottom so fast, and water comes in to replace that cold water comes in. It creates a spinning vortex like this, so it can keep up with the heat cycle. Now, when we come over here, you can see all of this area is getting very, very randomish currents because all the different heat structure areas and different temperature zones and stuff. All right, enough of that, though. I was getting to... We checked Taiwan. Oh, let's go down to Java here. Okay. And now it's starting to fill in. It's, last little bit of cold water is right here at the southern tip. You can see this area right here has filled in with red now, and it's starting to kind of turn orange right in there. A little red spot off the tip of Java here. We got this growing place out here. And then look here off of Madagascar, another spot that's starting to come to life there. All these little pockmarked areas all the way down there. Does that look spooky or what? Yeah, I know what you're doing. Oh, look at this area. Remember, this is a really hot little area. Look how something's formed right here and changed. I think, this is different. We'll continue to watch that. That's something weird going on right there. And dear Lord, oh boy. So, is this where I should talk about it? I don't want to give it away. All right, so we're going to start addressing this heat plume right here. Two eyes, look at that. Funky little face right there. Okay, this is where a lot of our hurricane activity is generated, right? And if we're going to continue to see this quick of a heating process going on here, the caliber of hurricanes, the number of hurricanes, the veracity of them. Can I hint at it? Okay. Just think. If anybody in that region, I wouldn't want to be in this region. Because storms that'll be coming through there, okay? That's more of a warning to the civilian population. And I think you guys understand who's trying to get into these waters as well. Boy, are they in for a surprise. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you're worrying about all these guys in their boats and oh, it's gonna get weird. I'm telling you, that has grown a lot. You know what I do with this one? How we go back and forth with the calendar? Let's do it over here. Okay, it's time to do it. Let me position it just right. You guys ready? Hold on to your panties. Everybody take a big deep breath. So you can still see it there. Let's go back a month. All right, just 1 month from. Okay, everybody ready? Okay. So there was this bigger, colder pocket here off the East Coast. All right, we had this one little warm little stripe coming through there. Okay, let's kind of try to manage this as best I can. Okay, you can still see that. Now let's go back to June. Everybody hold on tight. Boom. What do you think it's going to look like in another month? All that'll be gone. And we'll have a big yellow pocket right there, very similar to that one. Because in the course of a month, this one went from that, which looks similar to what Africa looks like right now, off the coast of Africa looks like right now, So you go a month from that, and it looks like that. So a 30-day increase of this, come here, don't mess with me. 30-day increase of this will probably look much like that. Wouldn't you say? You guys are very wise here, okay? You've learned a lot. You have a good sense of judgment now. What do you think? I leave it open to you as well. I'm not here to tell you everything. I'm just here to show you, and then I kind of leave it up to you to make your decision or make, your call too. All right. Everybody gonna cook this arm. There's gonna be some wild weather. We're already having wild weather all over the place. It's going to step up to a notch that we haven't seen before. Okay. I saw a thing, just a funny, not a funny video, but a make-believe video of a Category 8 hurricane. And what they were describing in this outlandish scenario for a Category 8 hurricane, quote, that doesn't exist. During the video, they were describing, it would be like, the oceans got so hot that it caused this and then this and that, but everything they described in the video is happening right now. And I was just like, oh dear God, did these guys just stumble right through the whole thing? So, yeah, we're going to have to entertain some stuff that is just, that we haven't seen before. And I would suggest now getting back from the coast, regardless of what happens. A volcano go off out here, cause a tsunami, wipe out the coast. Earthquake could happen out there. Earthquake could happen clear over here and send a tsunami, all right? It's time to kind of consider the coastlines as a little dangerous, okay? But then you don't want to be too far interior. It might be fire too. So it's like, where do you go? Where do you position yourself? You position yourself under the wing of the Lord. That's where you get your protection. Okay, enough of looking at this ugly stuff. Let's get over to the earthquakes. You guys are, all 20 are here ready for their spiritual report already. All right. Nothing deep in the region. Going up, naked system. 4.9. We call it a 5. Down at 60. Knocking right next door just now. 4.7 down at 58. 4.8 at 36. 4.6. Seems to kind of be a going trend there. 4.6 to 4.8 through there. Here we have a 4.8 down at 97. This is another 4.8. Now, this is kind of in this little deeper pit region. This one's down at 534. Okay. Let's go take a peek. Oh, this is the best part, huh? Aren't you guys interested? What's going to be underneath this, huh? I see something weird looking already going on right there. But so, actually, we have just our islands activity right here. Yeah, it seems to be picking it up a little bit. Let me step back one dimension. There we go. You can see our seamounts deformation on the floor of the ocean here, okay? When you look around, there's like a little plateau area with coral reef sticking up above the water. All right, this goes down. It's like a little cliff, and there's a deep little pocket down in there. Here's this island, the mountainside going down towards the ocean floor right there. So this is a big mound sticking up, and the very tip of that mound is sticking up through the water. Can you see it? So I want you to open up your third eye, your three-dimensional viewpoint, okay? That's your third eye, is looking with your three-dimensional perspective. And when you look, this is down in a hole. There's no like volcanic feature there. And that's down at 543. There's a burp going down. There's pressure underneath this region right here. And I wouldn't be surprised with this little quake that we see something Well, we might see a surface quake or some volcanic activity in this region because that was down deep. That's an indicator that pressure down deep is still going on, too. Did you note that? 534. That's some, mid-range 4 pressure down deep. Now, continuing on over here, just off of Java, you see all these little volcanoes lined up right there. Boom, 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 boom. And then it turns into islands. Right here, we have a 5.0 down at 14. They finally a 5.0. Wow. Am I hallucinating? Does that really say 5.0? Wow. Enjoy it. It's the last one you'll ever see. So 5.0 energy again being distributed along this area. Volcanic activity in there, all through there, keeping earthquake activity down. Well, look what happened up here at our fulcrum point here at Taiwan. Bam, 4.1 at 37. That's your energy being released at your fulcrum point right there. Look at this. All right. You can see pressure has come in and pushed this island up out of the water, right? Almost like a shovel blade came and pushed this whole mass of dirt so high that it popped up out of the water. Pressure runs right along this, pushing up this V structure. Okay, you see this V-shaped structure right there? That is your fulcrum point. That is your plate boundaries coming together. And look where it's at. It's just like pointing right to it. Bingo. It doesn't get more fulcrum than that. And that's why Dutch coined that term, and I agree with it 100%. It's a fulcrum point. It's much like a teeter-totter. Pressure builds up. It's a weak spot. It's the path of least resistance, too. Okay, so I agree with him. I agree with a lot of his stuff. We don't agree on everything, and I've learned a lot from him that's correlated with stuff that I've learned. So let's just continue on now. Okay, get ready for this. This is a 5.9, and what do we do with nines here? Sometimes we round them up because we're looking probably at a 6 right there. And note the depth, 622. That is very, very deep. Rarely do we see 600 depth out of this region right here, or even this deep region. But up here, we do see some deep quakes. A 5.9 down at 622. That's a lot of energy down deep. That's an indicator of pressure down deep making its way up. Okay. That was an indicator that we had some pressure buildup down there. 5.9 down at 622. When we have that kind of activity, a quake at depth down here in this region, we usually see a surface quake with a larger magnitude. Okay, so we are now. Okay, we're looking at a deep quake right here. This region does not always produce a larger quake at the surface. It has. How do I put this? It has relieved some energy, but it has also conducted energy up higher towards the surface, out towards this boundary line. Okay, so we might not see a residual surface quake in this region, but it will put stress on this, unfortunately. So let's see what kind of magnitude has already kind of come in. 3.2, 3.6. I want timestamps, and I want timestamps. Okay, this quake happened later than this. This energy right here has nothing to do with this because this happened afterwards. So any residual energy from this has yet to happen. These all happened before this. And here we go. You know what? Let's finish off the globe and we'll come into and we'll do that separately here in just a second. Yeah, there wasn't much left to finish off over here by Greece, a 4.0 down at 48. That's good. We need more activity to release around Italy, or else it's gonna blow. Well, it's gonna blow. Oh yeah, down here, irregular activity, mid-range fours going down the South America. We don't have to do those. Let me see what happened here though, because this is a fair amount of energy being released right here. Close this up for me, Lord. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Boundary quakes. We got a 5-0, another 5-0, 5-3, and a 5-5. Add all those fives together. That's a lot of energy got relieved right there close to the surface at our boundary point, at our on a plate boundary. There's a little fulcrum point right there, but also when you look, this is like a big push again where something came in and pushed these little islands up above the water. These are all volcanic islands that the plate boundary has caused. So this is almost like a fulcrum point, this big round nose. It's not so violently 90-degree angle, but it does diminish or distribute pressure much like a fulcrum point would, and just on the very fringe. And this is a little chain of volcanic islands right there. Sometimes we will get quake activity under these volcanoes instead of out here at the plate boundary. But right there by the plate boundary, relieving energy, that's good. A lot of the energy that I was looking to see get a little more relief actually kind of came out right down there. That's good because that's way out there, way out of the way. I'd love to see a lot of activity come out of that region instead of where it's populated. Now let's. There was one up here by Iceland. It wasn't big, but it's gone. I want to get back into this now. Let's get our 1-day all magnitude for the U.S. Clear that out, and let's get into here. I want to see what's going on. Just give me a second here. What's going right there? 3.6. That's after. Okay. 3.6. Okay. So 3.6 activity actually made it up to here after the quake, after this one. 407.53, yes. I just got to quadruple check, man, because I want to make sure. Yep. Okay, so here around our fulcrum point, I'm looking for our biggest activity that, reaches a pressure point right up here by the fulcrum point. Well, right here is our biggest quake, our 3.6 down at a depth of 19. Now, that's our potential energy that could come over, all right? Still a little micro quaking up through there. I just want to see what just kind of came in here at the geysers. 2.6. All right. Backing up now. Okay, so up here in the Puget Sound, everybody in Seattle, just so you know, you got a little activity here. 1.6 just means that there's a path of least resistance in that region, okay? Be aware, okay? Here we are at Mount St. Helens, again with activity there. A 0.0, yeah, we know it's bigger than 0.0. But still, volcano shows that magma moving around down below it, causing activity there. Here's another volcanic feature out here. 1.4 out here in Oregon. I don't even get a chance to watch Dutch that much anymore because I don't have time. Okay, here we go. What I like to see here is a lot of small microquakes swarming, and that's exactly what's going on. Our latest, newest one right here in red, 2.6. That's great. I love to see all kinds of micro swarming around the geysers here. It's another relief valve for California. Okay, keeping the magnitudes down. Also, when pressure comes in and we hit right here at this fulcrum point, it shoves energy down the system, right? Well, what doesn't crack off along the San Andreas, the main fault line, hits these inner fault lines that run parallel. Okay, this is all pressure stacked waves again. So you get little fault lines that run parallel with the San Andreas down in that region. I like this spot because energy coming in from the north can be vented here at the path of least resistance right before it gets to this highly populated area. All right. Now, some of it gets past there. We've been seeing activity in this Hayward Fault System area here in the Bay Area. 1.1 out by Danville. 1 point, well, whatever this one is. 1.5 here in Hayward. So, yeah, Hayward, probably the Hayward Fault. And just everybody in the vicinity, be aware that when we have big quake activity, it could possibly strike right in that region. When, say 6 energy came in and all of it didn't get scrubbed off here at the geysers, well, then it would probably strike somewhere along that region next. We had this one up here in the Central Valley at Linda. What was that? Yeah, Linda, California. But all kind of micro quaking activity down by Tom's place, just south of Mammoth. Ugh. Excuse me. A little micro quaking going out in the desert out here in Nevada. That's good. Normal or typical activity there. Let's look over here, Oklahoma. Here's your, and bingo, a 2.5 here in Buford, Georgia at a depth of 5. Okay, so we know that this, oh, darn it, Craton. Thank you, Lord. I agree with Dutch on the Craton. Okay, you can see it right here. He describes it beautifully every time. Okay, and that's why we check this area too, because I agree. I'm in agreement with them. And bingo, we've had a little activity right here. 2.3, nothing major. Okay, this is Oklahoma. Yeah, good. But it came over the hump, boom, 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 and then sure enough, 1.7 up here in New Jersey. Okay, these indicate your weak spots, path of least resistance. So if we were ever to see big energy again, building the region, it would pop off at one of those places more likely first. All right, I think we're done. Well, let's just dance the room real quick. 4.5, 4.5, 4.8, and 4.9, or another 5, basically. All right, so there's your earthquake report. We got a lot of potential energy still to go because of this, possibly. All right, I hope I'm wrong. Okay, I don't want to see any kind of big quake activity coming in. And if it were, it wouldn't be anything over 5.9 or 6. I think we've scrubbed some right there with that one right there. And then also the geysers help. Let's go take a peek at Hawaii real quick. Oh, this is awesome. Wonderful quake swarming activity. all these little 2s and 1s. What's that bigger one right there? 2.3? Yeah, okay. Little activity at the very tip. Ooh, there's your biggest quake right there. The 3.0. So pressure goes around the Pacific Rim. The rim is like the rim of a bicycle. Well, in the middle of the rim is the hub, and pressure comes up through the hub of the rim, or the hub of the rim as well. Okay, so there we go. There's your earthquake report. I think we're done finally. Now that's going to transpose into our volcano report now. Please, Lord, let the volcano report work tonight. Oh, thank you, Lord. You're so... Are we at the 7th here? Yeah, this has already jumped into June 7th now, a little bit. So, Merapi here on the island of Java, 11,000 feet. More particulates in the air. Semru, East Java, 14,000 feet. More particulates in the air. Marapi, 11,000 feet. More. Dukono, 8,000 feet. More particulates in the air. Fuego, 15,000 feet of more. Sabancaya had particulates up to 25,000 feet. Particulates, I might have to say it every time to drive it into your skull, that we have a particulate problem. Particular problem? Oh, did I go do that? Back out of that. I double clicked it. It should be right there. There we are. June 6th. Now, this was what was today, is now yesterday. Ibu, IBU, 18,000 feet of particulates. Luatobi, 8,000 feet. Marapi, 11,000 feet. Okay, moving on. Semeru, 14,000. That's the same one. Dukono, Kilauea. The eruption that commenced southwest of Kilauea Summit on 3 June has been paused for 48 hours and is unlikely to reactivate. Well, unless we get some other kind of energy coming up from the below. And we just saw, whoops, where'd it go? This blast here coming out of the Schumann right there. It dissipated. But as soon as more energy comes up, we could see, now that we have a vent opened here at Kilauea, as long as it doesn't like cool off and seal up really quick, it could possibly be our new relief valve, in the hub of the wheel, relieving pressure in there with our curtain, our fissure in our curtain effect. Fuego, 15,000 feet of particulates. Sabancaya, 25,000 feet. That's a lot of particulates. White Island in Antarctica. Don't forget, we got live volcanic activity down by the ice. And since the most recent observed increased activity of the volcano on 25 of May, the local observatory has been closely monitoring the volcano. Webcams have shown typical steam and gas emissions from the island when visibly it has been cleared. Additionally, the latest gas observation flight May 31st is confirmed. Hopefully that's not you guys at night. You guys should be sleeping pretty well. All right, that's your volcano report. Even though all this disturbing information I show you, despite all that, you should be sleeping pretty well. And if not, we will work on that. Okay, while we're waiting for this to load up, I can start taking out some other ones. Oh, I can't. Excuse me. So stick around. We got a good spiritual report tonight. I posted some of the cat and dog stuff in the clouds I captured the other day. You have problems shaking, Buckeye? Because I do too. Your hands shake, bud? Yeah. You're. Don't worry. You can always comment, dude. Take your time. My hands shake too. Don't. I can relate. Trust me. You're at the right channel for that. Now, as soon as this comes back around. Okay, so here we go. Current conditions, the nighttime of the 6th. We've seen this storm kind of finally move out off the coast now. We're done with that one. There's the morning of the 7th, noon, convection. Here we go, convection, Nebraska, and nighttime. So severe weather again around Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas border, that whole target area right there. I thought mine was carpal tunnel. I pinched nerve in my neck. It's almost paralyzed. But carpal tunnel is no fun either. Back to where I was though. We're looking at severe weather here, the nighttime of the 7th. Okay, everybody, take heed. And it might not be right in that exact zone. It might shift a little bit, but we do have the potential now for severe weather on the night. Excuse me. That was gross. Tonight, okay? Well, tomorrow night. So around sundown, well, tomorrow night, nocturnal thunderstorms, severe chances there. Morning of the 8th, noon, convection, nighttime again. Here we go with our nighttime activity again, nocturnal activity. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime. More nocturnal activity, Oklahoma, Texas, even back up into Colorado. You guys saw tornadoes in Colorado, so you're not exempt from them or immune from them. Excuse me. There's the morning of the 10th. Now we got severe weather in the morning hours, overnight and into the morning hours right there. The 9th, 10th transition, everybody watch out in that region. Noon of the 10th, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 11th, noon, convection, nighttime. See this nighttime activity going on down here on the 11th? Let me back up a little bit. Starting in the morning, you can see when I backed up, this is your central core right here, your storm. Then it goes boom, severe by noontime. That's convection when, the cloud tops are supposed to be at their highest and very scattered. These isolated, these discrete supercells are what we don't like because they can produce and keep producing for a while. Nighttime the 11th, off the shore mainly. Okay, so depending on a shift in wind could keep it onshore. We'll see. But that nighttime activity right there, June 11th, watch out. Even up here in Canada, you guys in Canada, I know this map doesn't show enough of it, but watch you guys up here in Canada as I go through this too. I don't report enough on them. Now we're getting into the morning of the 12th. A lot of this severe activity has left is offshore, but you see the tail end streaking across Florida with severe weather by the morning of the 12th. There's your noontime, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 13th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 14th, noon, convection, nighttime. Now, as you can see down here, we have this subtropical moisture brewing up out here in the Gulf. That'll be the nighttime of the 14th. I got to back up real quick because you see noontime, we get these little clouds starting to form there in the Rockies. By convection, you got nice thunderheads that are discrete supercells. Then at nighttime, it goes very convective into Kansas and stuff. Morning of the 15th. Now we have all this region starting to boil down here. Still chances of severe there. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 16th, noon, convection, nighttime. Convection to nighttime time frame landfall of a subtropical storm here around the convection and nighttime of the 16th. That's going into the morning of the 17th. All right, everybody, Alabama, Mississippi, you better start waking up, paying attention. This is still a little further out here. Let me scroll down. See how we are on our little chart here. We're a little further out there than 3 days, but now we're starting to see these models showing this kind of activity happening. Back up again, because that's nighttime of the 16th, morning of the 17th, noon, convection, nighttime. Alabama, there's going to be some flash flooding like crazy. You see how long that's out there, intense over that area? All day. So you're going to see some flash flooding in that region. Prepare for it, okay? You got 10 days to get prepared, to get boxed up, packed up, get out of there. Morning of the 18th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 19th, noon, convection, nighttime. You guys watching down here, they're just getting it over and over again. Morning of the 20th, up in Canada. Snow in Canada. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 21st, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 22nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Oh, that was it. So that's way far out there. But let me go ahead and put that back into motion. Guys, kind of wrap your head around, actually, our next event. Let's just focus on our next 48 to 72 hours right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so here we are, convection tomorrow, possibly around Nebraska, Iowa border area right there at sundown, and then nocturnal severe weather in that region. All right, so everybody tomorrow night in that region, get ready. It tapers off in the morning. And then here we are the day after tomorrow night with convection in that region in Kansas again. So 2 nighttime events. Tomorrow night right there and the day after tomorrow night right there. There's another nighttime event again the next night into the morning. But anything after that is kind of too far out. All right, so 3 nocturnal events in a row here. Everybody get ready in those regions. And in those regions and on the outskirts of these regions, in case this model is off by 1 degree means 100 miles, so the storm could change direction in 1 degree or 2 degrees, and that makes a big difference in the location. But for right now, know that your central region here, you're going to have nighttime, you're going to have convection and nocturnal activity. Okay, and there's your weather forecast. Whew. Sorry, I have to do it until I feel thoroughly satisfied myself that I have warned you properly, or as thoroughly as okay for my own mental health, because I have to deal with this stuff, and it's important you guys learn how to deal with it too. Okay. All right, so I want to take you to, what were we going to do? Oh, we're going to do 1812 again. So, many of you might not know the story of the War of 1812. And what happened there was, well, let me describe it while I'm trying to kind of type it up here. See, we got our independence when we beat the British in 1776, right? And that's our 4th of July, Independence Day is 4th of July, 1776. Well, something else happened. See what, whoops. Afterwards, in 1812, see, the British went back and they rallied their troops and everything, and they came back at us in 1812, and we had another war with the British. Did you all know that we had 2 wars with the British? That the British came over here and attacked us once we were established? They came over and attacked us. And what happened? Well, let's just let this...
brilliantly lit as the whole city that night. As flames burst through the roof of the Capitol, there was a roll of thunder.
At about 10:30 p.m., the men move on to another key government target, the White House. In the dining room, they find the table set. Coburn orders wine poured, and in a sarcastic toast to the president, drinks to Jemmy's health.
This is the British.
Soldiers rampage through the rooms, grabbing souvenirs.
This is the British partying in the White House, rampaging the room, celebrating because, well, we lost. The British came in and won.
Including a ceremonial sword and a pair of rhinestone buckles. Even Major General Ross pockets President Madison's love letters to Dolly.
All over. That's it. It's done. Burning down the White House. It's over.
Outside the mansion, the Redcoats pitch their torches through the windows, engulfing the White House in flames.
Think about freedom.
The destruction of Washington's public buildings, these fires, the glow of which was seen 50 miles away, struck at the hearts of many Americans, wherever they were.
Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation at the catastrophe, recalls George Douglas, a militia private. Perhaps no one feels the emotions more deeply than President Madison, who watches the fires from horseback in Virginia.
There was no sign of panic. There was intense concern about making sure the government didn't fold up, and he felt, of course, a responsibility. At that stage, Madison was thinking, where would he find Dolly? Where would the rest of the government be? How could he reconvene them to show that the government could still function and still exist in an effective form?
The next morning, August 25th, the British set the Library of Congress and the Navy Yard afire as storm clouds threaten overhead. But at 2 o'clock that afternoon, 2 events would transform a burning Washington into a scene beyond comprehension. With little warning, one of the most powerful hurricanes in its history hits Washington.
Hits where?
Lightning splits clouds open as gale force winds tear through the city.
Out of nowhere comes this uncanny storm, which not only dumps a tremendous torrential downpour, but it rages against this British column.
One redcoat recalls the fury of this perfect storm.
Our column was completely dispersed, as if it had received a total defeat. Some of the men flying for shelter behind walls and buildings, and others falling flat upon the ground to prevent themselves from being carried away. Such was the violence of the wind that 2 pieces of cannon were fairly lifted from the ground and borne several yards away.
What has started out as a blessing is about to become a catastrophic event of epic proportions. As the hurricane wreaks destruction throughout the burning city, a tornado suddenly appears from the sky and shears through the center of the Capitol.
A what?
Appears from the hurricane wreaks destruction throughout the burning city. A tornado suddenly appears from the sky and shears through the center of the Capitol.
A tornado appears from the sky and shears through the Capitol in Maryland. A tornado in Maryland. Gee, we haven't had a tornado in Maryland in a long time. And what just happened? Well, I showed you at the beginning with that huge tornado in Maryland. Let's continue.
For 2 hours, the immense storm rages through Washington, dousing most of the flames that have turned the Capitol into an inferno.
We now know a tornado actually touches down like the wrathful hand of God from the Old Testament and inflicts more casualties in the middle of that British column than they even suffered in Bladensburg.
When the storm clears out the next day, so do the British.
In Gainsburg, did he say? And that's where that tornado went through? Duly noted.
The invasion force returns to Benedict, Maryland, a battered and bewildered unit. Meanwhile, the President and First Lady finally reunite at a roadside tavern. They return to Washington on August 27th and view the devastation. In just 24 hours, a capital that had taken 10 years to build had been reduced to a charred wasteland. The White House is now a smoldering, roofless shell. The Madisons realize that they will never live there again. Dolly's depression turns to bitterness, and the president condemns the British as damned rascals. Madison suppresses his anger by riding through the streets of the charred city. Our good president, observes banker John Barnes, is out animating the troops and encouraging the citizens not to despair.
In some ways, the war was the making of Madison as a president that connected to the people. He always was a brainiac. But with the burning of Washington, he is connecting to people in a very heartfelt way. He cares about them. He gets a sense that his constituency actually responds to him as a person, and that's the first time. He was a pretty formal guy.
Madison had just gone through a trial to rival their own. He had never been in good health, but now he had just spent 4 days on horseback with little or no sleep, rallying troops and doing what he could to defend his country. Some Washington citizens urged the president to relocate the capital to Philadelphia, but he refuses. Instead, Congress meets in a hotel while the president calls a cabinet meeting in the post office, the only government building spared.
The post office. So, how...
The next morning, August 25th, the British set the library
Lifted from the ground and
So a tornado touches down in Maryland. And we had our, well, where'd it go? I went and took it down. Wait, we can go backwards here, can't we? Can I go back to, yeah, right here. All right. In Gaithersburg. He mentioned it in that video. And this is this massive tornado that just right here. Just very close to Washington, D.C. Okay? These are signs. I've been waiting to see when we're going to have a tornado in Maryland. A couple of days later, here it goes. And this is a multi-vortex, just gnarly. Watch the faces in it pop up all over the place. And a lot of the times when I'm taking pictures of the sky, if I were to take video, well, you wouldn't see it because it's moving. I capture it just at the right moment. And here in a minute, you'll start to see there's all kinds of faces popping out of this thing. I'm going to catch the good one that we used on our thumbnail here. And, oh, it's coming up here in just a second, I believe. Right around here. There it is. Oops. Did I go too far? There it is. All right. Right there. Big old smiley face. I'm smiling. That's God. smiling. He's putting tornadoes right next to Washington, D.C., you guys. This is God controlling the weather. He's going to free you from the oppression in Washington, D.C. Except this time it's not the British. This time it's the criminal. See the thing over the nose, that bridge thing over the nose that we see in all the faces have that broken nose, okay? And it's important to understand that broken nose because that nose got broken and then punched while it was broken. Imagine having a broken nose, your eyes tearing up, blood's gushing out of your face, and somebody punches you in that broken nose. Oh! And then does it again. Yeah. Mind-numbing pain. So that's why that bridge of the nose feature is always in that face. Okay, captured right there, bing, bing, and there we'll let it continue. Watch closely because there are all kinds of events going on here. All right, and I showed you the spheroid activity, the other players in the game. Okay, and here is a reminder of 1812. It wasn't caused by a hurricane, but look at this tornado. This is a multi-vortex tornado. You got ones here in the foreground. You got ones way back here dancing. This whole thing is rotating, and you got stuff on the outskirts forming, dancing, dropping down, stuff in the middle, over here again. And it's just constant activity. And no telling where it's going to touch down, you know, where a new one's just going to reach down. And this is over Maryland. This is, it's like a warning. I can see God warning the people of Maryland with this storm. Watch out. And then something else I noticed too. When I was describing this earlier to my son, I said, he was kind of asking me, he goes, well, how come it didn't take out the Capitol? And I thought that too myself. How come it didn't take out the Capitol? Well, for one thing, think about this. The Capitol is the people's house, not the criminal's house, the people's house, right? So why would God destroy the people's house? But the criminals that work in that house all live in the surrounding area, don't they? So instead of destroying the people's house, he's going after the criminals. Touching down here, taking out one house there. Very specific. When you see those faces, that smiley face, it's for a reason. It's not to scare you. It's to reassure you, hey, somebody's here cleaning house in Maryland. And it didn't destroy the people's house. There's nothing wrong with the White House, the buildings themselves. We still need those structures. Those are symbols of our freedom and of our country. We don't need to burn down the White House and have it destroyed. But the people that are in the White House, oh boy, do you really want me to say that? Okay. So before I say it, I got to explain it. So imagine your house, the people's house, okay? And a bunch of... Okay, it's still running. Good. You get some riffraff that come over and they start partying in your house. Eating all your food, drinking all the beer in your fridge. You didn't even invite them over. These people just saw that you were, having a few friends over, so they crashed your party, okay? So we got these people in our house who crashed our party. The party's over, and yet they are still there, okay? They're, what we refer to as party scum, Okay, they're the ones that won't leave, that are there to just milk it for all it's worth, right? They're the leftover. They won't go. They're the scum that are still there, referred to as party scum. Okay, we got some party scum in the house, right? We got to clear it out, and that goes for the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. They're both parties. They are party scum in the people's house. And here's God kind of doing his thing here. Instead of taking out the people's house, he's going to take out their houses one by one. And it goes for both parties. I'm disappointed. Our Republicans are spineless. They're not. They don't stand up to the Democrats. They have let us down more. It's hard to explain, but we have party scum in our house, okay? And here comes God to clean house. Don't be surprised. All right, during that story, he said a hurricane came and sparked a tornado. Well, what was I showing you? The temperatures off of the coast of Africa? How many hurricanes do you think are going to hit Washington or hit Maryland this year? 20, 30, maybe one every day. Or it might just be one big, huge one that sits there for a week or whatever. But this right here, this tornadic activity in Maryland, just minutes away from the Capitol, I see what God's doing. I know exactly what he's doing. This is a reminder of 1812. And you guys need to be informed about 1812 because they all got you thinking that your independence is the 4th of July in 1776 and that you got your freedom by fighting for it. Nope. You got your freedom because the hand of God stepped in. That's why you have your freedom. That's why you should celebrate your freedom, not because of beating the British back in 1776. No, they came back and won. It was the hand of God that gave this country freedom, and it should be recognized. And here we are on the 80th day of D-Day. Okay, I want you to think about all these soldiers that sacrificed their life, the fear that they went through, the blood, sweat, and tears that they went through so that we could have freedom and just let it slip away. Let these criminals waltz right in and tell us what to do. They're not leaders if you don't follow them. If you stop doing what they tell you, they're no longer a leader. It's time to clean the house. And since the public can't do it, well, the hand of God is going to come in and start cleaning house. You can tell that's what's going on. It's crystal clear for those who have eyes that see. Okay? Wonder if sandstorm coming up assisted in tornadic activity. It will hinder tornadic activity. The sandstorm will, which hopefully, we see some of that hindrance during our hurricane season, but the way the heat has developed out there in the Atlantic, I think hurricanes will be so powerful, the sand won't even hinder them at all. Yep, that's right, Jimmy. God is the only one who can drain the swamp. And guess what? Breaking headlines. That could possibly happen because guess who's here? Yeah. And we're going to get into that now. So hopefully you enjoyed that little history lesson there because that was left out of your history, wasn't it? How many of you knew that your freedom came from God, not from the government? Yeah, your rights are given to you by God, not by man. Man does not give you your rights, and they're not the ones who. They're about to find out in a very rude way, aren't they? Uh-oh, we got some. Why is it so bright? All right, well, we're moving on to some other ones too. Let me pull up some other images. So now that you know that your freedom came from up above, and don't think that that's just a coincidence or a fluke that a tornado touched down in Maryland as the British are burning down the White House. When you have this character up in the clouds looking down from above at what's going on down below, don't you think he would notice? Why is this so bright? Is it coming? It's all messed up on your screen. For some reason, it's really bright on mine. And where'd the chat go? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Good. Now, let's pull up some other stuff here. One thing we need to kind of go over again, because somebody was very inquisitive about this earlier today. Oh, yeah, right here. Thank you, Lord. I could hear you thinking it, so we're just going to get right to it. Bingo, right here. For years later, until I was digging around through my old pictures and stuff, and went even further back to see if I'd missed anything, and I captured this one. And we're going to zoom into this streak right up here, this one right here. Bear with me for a second here. Now, hopefully, you can see that we have a lady's profile here. Here's her eye, here's her forehead, her snub little nose, here's the bottom jaw, she's smiling, she's looking down, and she's holding a baby, and here's the baby's head right here. Here's the face, the back of the head, here's her arm cupped around like this, and she's holding the baby. Now I'm going to run this through the filter real quick, and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much. But see, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her. And you can still make out the baby's head right here. And maybe if I pull back a little bit, there we go. Oops. And this was captured on October 4th. So this was about 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. All this stuff started happening to me just prior to the Revelation 12 sign, and then right after it. So it said the woman was about to give birth. Well, it looks like maybe she gave birth, and here's the little baby being caught up to God. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. Let me dim this a little bit and explain a tad bit here as well as we do reading. So all of this stuff started happening to me right before the Revelation 12 sign, and then right after it. So I got my Bible open up to Revelation 12, and we're going to read Revelation 12 here real quick, okay? Before or after, Lord? Okay, so I got to explain this before I read it then real quick. So I described to you, I've been trying to show you guys what happened to me, okay, what I've documented and captured during this process, okay, because this has been a process. At this stage right here, I had no idea that this had happened. I didn't find this image. This is the first image. Everything that I saw was from the second image on, all right? Something told me, you missed something. Go back and look. And I'm like, what? Something before Mary showing up on my cameras? Go back and look. And I found this image was before the Mary image, all right? And I didn't know about this. The night that this happened, something spiritually violent happened to me. This entity stepped inside of me, and how do I put this? It's so strange. It was like I came down on myself and devoured myself and realized now I'm this new self person. It was well, I devoured myself and then became myself again. It was just, I tried to describe it to doctors. Nobody will ever grasp it because it just didn't happen to you, but it did happen to me. And after that happened, I wasn't sure what was going on in my life because things were getting really crazy. Now, right here, this image is October 4th of 2017. That's 11 days after the Revelation 12 star alignment that was 2,000-year-old prophecy come true. Okay? Revelation 12 star alignment came true. That should have been the breaks smash moment for the whole world. But everybody batted an eye and continued on. That was a 2,000-year-old prophecy, came true in the stars. That's the only way that could happen is by God. Okay? So, but nobody noticed. I mean, they're like, oh, pretty star alignment, on to the next thing. Well, at that time, everybody was theorizing about Nibiru and the dragon of Revelation 12. So now we're going to get into this and read about this now, okay? Revelation 12, the woman and the dragon. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Okay? That's our star alignment. That sign was the star alignment. Then another sign appeared in heaven. Oh, there were two signs. Did you know that there were two? There was one, was the woman. Then another sign appeared, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns on his heads. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth, which is still to come, has yet to happen, but that's still to come. Now, the dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth. That makes everybody needs to understand the sign of the dragon happened before the sign of the woman. The dragon, which was the sign, the other one was the woman. So we have two signs, dragon and woman. The dragon stood in front of the woman, which means it happened before the star alignment. Now, the dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a male child. She gave birth to a male child. She gave birth to a male child who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Guess what? The individual that will rule all the nations with an iron scepter, and I told you what happened to me here. I told you what happened to me here. You're looking at the child who will rule, a male child who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Her child was snatched up to God, not caught up, snatched up. What does snatched mean? Well, it kind of means devour. It was snatched up to God and to his throne. That's me. Snatched up to God, became God, and now is on the throne. I'm going to rule with an iron scepter. Do you understand that? I'm the male child. It's a spiritual child, a spiritual being. And now I'm this spiritual entity entered me. And now ever since that, my life has turned upside down, backward, inside out, everything. All right. From that moment right there. And I didn't know what had happened until, well, the very next day, when I was just going through what I was going through. Captured. And what's going on here is I'm here on my knees. I'm crying and screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me, something so unbelievable you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way. Okay, at this point right now, I'm a mess, all right? Imagine being possessed by an entity that's so powerful. Imagine being possessed, not by a demonic entity, but imagine being possessed by God. That spiritual baby entered me, and I became, well, let's continue. See, there's pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down, her shawl coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay. You can't go in too tight on it. That's and okay. Also, that's why I'm here to explain. White ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it. Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel, the silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head. There's a glow over the head. The wings are extended, and there's a feather coming off. The last feather coming off is crossing over these brown roof tiles in the background here. And you can make out there's an angel right here. And you can even see his head right here. This is the very next day. Going a little bit tighter. And this was the image that I saw. I went down there because I was a mess. All right. I'm crying. I'm screaming. I'm praying. Ask yourself, why would Mary and an angel and stuff show up right after that event happened to me if it weren't true? So there's the angel with his back to us and his wings spread. Yeah, you can see a lot better with the filter. Before it was really faint and it was hard to see. Better with the filter before. Right there. This whole scene right here is an anointing. All right, I was a mess after what happened to me, and then I saw the Nemesis system, made the warning video, the stress and everything that went along with that, and was a lot. And I'm out here praying, please, God, why'd you choose me? Why? What did I do? Why did you choose me? How come you chose to step inside of me? What did I do? I'm nobody special. Well, actually, Brian, yeah. Oh, you're what? What are you talking about? And I'm like, this is getting crazy. All right. But you see it right there. See that little baby right there? Born in my manger, or my lower garage. This is our playroom, man cave, side room, whatever. When I need some privacy away from the main house, I go down here to pray. And the night before, I didn't know this had happened. I started having all this paranormal stuff happen to me, and I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? Why is this happening to me? What's going on? What's going on? And then later, about 2 years later, I hear, you missed something. You need to go back and look. So I went back and looked, and bingo. And then it all made sense. I knew. And now you know. Okay. Now I have a couple of other readings to do here. And it's important that you guys, after we see this stuff is disturbing, okay? Maybe it's not because it hasn't sunk in yet, or you don't believe it, or you're still in denial, maybe, because that's one of the things that happens is you go right into denial, or you start to get curious and get caught up in it, and you're caught up with me in the clouds right there. So, we got all kinds of other ones to pull up. Sorry, Lord. You want this to just image? Yeah. Oh yeah, always gotta have an ad. Oh yeah.
Wait till us.
It's like you got 1 second to go. Whoops, we freeze up with that 1 second still hanging there for 5 minutes. So they can get their whole ad in. We got some other images too. What other ones do you want to pull up? I got that one. I got that one. I got that one. Oh, of course. So after that happened to me, now, life is very strange. Paranormal activity happening to a normal guy. All right, I've seen UFOs my whole life, so I knew paranormal activity was possible, but it really ratcheted up in a way that, it just changed everything, really. And we'll have to go through this 50 more times before I can tell you the final thing that really happened, because you won't believe it. It's so traumatic and unbelievable that we have to go through this process probably 100 times until it sinks in, when I show you what really happened, you're just going to go, no way. But then all this will back it up and you'll go, wow. So, there, do you see Jesus right there pulling his shirt open with his heart right there? Good. That's the main thing. I would bring it up a little closer, but, yeah, that's better, I guess. And he's projecting my face in the clouds. These faces in the clouds following me, UFOs following me, angels, demons attacking me, because of who I am. And, it's important that we kind of get a little break from everything and realize that you're on a spiritual journey here, okay, with me. You're on a spiritual journey with me. And it's important to kind of grasp that, because it'll give your life meaning, okay? So right now I'm going to take a deep breath here. Everybody get comfortable. We're going to relax, be at peace for a few minutes while I read. So everybody get in your spot, get comfy, get your drinks, do what you need to do. Okay, so you're looking at that, and you see that heart right there. That's a guy that loves you. This is all about love, okay? And that's what's important to understand. And it's important that you understand that I continually call you to closeness with me. I know the depth and breadth of your need for me. I can read the emptiness of your thoughts when they wander away from me. I offer you rest for your soul. Again, I offer you rest for your soul, as well as refreshment for your mind and refreshment for your body. As you increasingly find fulfillment in me, other pleasures become less important. Knowing me intimately is like having a private wellspring of joy within you. How do you get that wellspring of joy within you? By knowing me intimately. This spring flows freely from my throne of grace, so your joy is independent of your circumstances. Do you understand that? Your joy should be independent of your circumstances by now. Why? Because this spring flows freely from my throne of grace. It's yours for the taking, so your joy is independent of your circumstances. Don't you want that? Everybody's dying for that right now, and you've got it. Now, waiting in my presence, like we're doing right now, waiting in my presence keeps you connected to me, aware of all that I offer you. And if you feel any deficiency, you need to refocus your attention on me. This is how you trust me in the moments of your life. How do you trust me in the moments of your life? By waiting in my presence. That's what keeps you connected to me. So, be patient, wait in my presence, and you find trust in me in the moments of your life. Okay? See that healing heart right there? I want this image perfect, Lord. Sorry, I am ADD or OCD, every D you can imagine. All right. When you're looking at that, I want you to see that heart. This is love. This is about love, okay? I am a God who heals. I heal broken bodies. I heal broken minds. And I heal broken hearts. I heal broken lives. And I heal broken relationships. My very presence has immense healing powers. Did you know that? Looking at me and listening to me has immense healing powers. That foundation right there has immense healing powers. My very presence are those immense healing powers. You cannot live close to me without experiencing some degree of healing. Can we all agree? You guys have had some degree of healing because you cannot live close to me without experiencing some degree of healing. Okay? However, it's also true that you have not because you ask not. You receive the healing that flows naturally from my presence, whether you seek it or not. But there is more, much more available to those who ask. Okay. I was looking better the other way. No, too many lines. So, you receive the healing that flows naturally from my presence. Okay, you're already getting naturally healed by just looking and listening. All right, but then there's also other healings that you can do, that I can do if you ask. Okay, so you guys wrap your mind around this. It's impossible to be close to me without experiencing some degree of healing. Now, you receive the healing that flows naturally from my presence, whether you seek it or not, but there is more available to those who ask. Now, the first step in receiving healing is to live ever so close to me. The benefits of this practice are too numerous to list. So as you grow more and more intimate with me, I reveal my will to you more directly. When the time is right, I prompt you to ask for healing of some brokenness in you or in another person. So, when the time is right, I prompt you to ask. So, listen for that prompting and then ask when you hear that prompting. When you do that, it will be answered. That's how it works. The first step in receiving healing is to live close to me. The benefit is, as you grow more intimate, I work more directly. When I prompt you to ask for healing of some brokenness in you or another person, listen for that prompt. The time will be right. You'll hear it. When the time is right, I prompt you. I prompt you to pray, to ask for healing of some brokenness, whether it's in you or in another person. Pray for healing of brokenness in you or in another person. Those are the prayers I love to answer. Not, can I have a Lamborghini in my driveway by tomorrow morning in bright red with low profile tire? Are you kidding me? It's not how this works at all. How it works is the more directly you are intimate with me, the more intimate you are, the more directly I prompt you to pray for somebody or to pray for the brokenness either in you or in another person. Now, once you've got that, the healing may be instantaneous or it may be a process, okay? A lot of these instantaneous, miraculous things do happen sometimes. Most of the ones you see are not genuine. The genuines are a process, okay? There are some very quick ones, but usually the process is, it's a process. So, so listen to the prompt, listen for the prompt, pray, which is asking for healing of brokenness, whether it's in you or another person. That could be instantaneous or it might be a process, because that's up to me. But your part is to trust me fully and to thank me for the restoration that has begun. All right, when you see it's already beginning, start with a thank you right there that it's already begun. You know, you don't have to wait until the restoration is totally, finally complete down to the last thing and then finally say thank you. No. Your part is to trust me and to thank me for the restoration that has begun. Now, this is important too, because you guys are going to get a little disappointed, but listen carefully. I rarely heal all the brokenness in a person's life. Okay? Rarely do I heal all of your brokenness. It's your brokenness that keeps you hungry, keeps you striving. So rarely do I heal all of anyone's brokenness. Okay, that's the character builder. Why would I destroy something that's building character? So rarely do I heal all the brokenness in a person's life. Much like Paul, I told him, my grace is sufficient for you. And when he sought healing for the thorn in his flesh, nonetheless, much healing is available to those whose lives are intimately interwoven with mine. Ask and you will receive. What happened? I missed something here? Okay. That's what happened. So, anyways, you got most of that message. The more intimately interwoven you are with me, the more healing you get, but I don't heal all the brokenness in your life. All right. We'll heal some of the good ones. Some of the bad ones are character builders. They make you tough. All right. So I will heal, but not. Rarely do I heal every brokenness in a person. I had other ones. The flashcard one that I wrote on the backside. Oh, here it is. So, looking at that, we're looking at Mary and angels and this baby. There's my face right there. Is that the one we want for this one, Lord? Yeah. Just look at that for a minute. So, I'm looking down on my probably about 5 cards here, some of my notes, and the light was like shining in my eye, and it's running down my face. Kind of like that image right there. So wait with me for a while. I have much to tell you. You are walking along the path I have chosen for you. If you're here at this channel, you are walking on the path that I have chosen for you. It is both a privilege and a perilous way, experiencing my glorious presence and heralding the reality to others. That's the hard part, huh? It's hard to tell everybody there's this dude on YouTube, man. But it's both a privilege and a perilous way. The privilege is experiencing my glorious presence. The perilous way is sharing with others that this reality actually exists. Because sometimes you feel presumptuous to be carrying out such an assignment. Huh? Does it make you feel presumptuous to believe what I'm telling you? Do you guys sometimes feel presumptuous to be carrying out such an assignment, as if listening, believing that assignment right there, that perilous assignment? Because sometimes you feel presumptuous to be carrying this out. It's like it's too good to be true. There's no way this is happening. But don't worry about what other people think of you. The work I am doing in you is hidden at first, but eventually it blossoms, and blossoms will burst forth, and abundant fruit will be born on those blossoms. Did you know that? You guys are blossoming right now. And what happens after the blossom? When the blossoms will burst forth, well, then abundant fruit will be born. So stay on the path of life with me. Trust me wholeheartedly, letting my spirit fill you with joy and peace. Stay on the path of life with me. Trust me wholeheartedly, letting my spirit fill you with joy and peace. Trust me and don't be afraid. I want you to view your trials as exercises designed to develop your trust muscle in your brain, your trust muscle in your heart. Okay? There's a little, think of it as a trust muscle. And trust me and don't be afraid, because I want you to view your trials as exercises that are designed. Your trials are not just trials. They are exercises that are designed to develop that trust muscle. You get in a perilous position, the only thing you're going to trust is, God, please get me out of this, please. Oh, there we go. Okay? Your trials are exercises that are designed to develop you. Okay? I think you guys are starting to figure out now that you live in the midst of fierce spiritual warfare. This is not just spiritual warfare, hitting a tennis ball back and forth. We are in the midst of fierce spiritual warfare. You got to admit, it's got to sink in one of these days, and you have to admit that you live in the midst of fierce spiritual battles, spiritual warfare, and that fear is one of Satan's favorite weapons. When you start to feel afraid, that's where you need to affirm your trust in me. Speak out loud if circumstances permit, and resist the devil in my name, and he will slink away from you. Refresh yourself in my holy presence. Okay? Holy means set aside for sacred purposes. This is a sacred purpose. I have been set aside for a sacred purpose. That's holy. Okay? Refresh yourself in my holy presence. I showed you the code so you can speak and sing praises to me, and my face will shine radiantly upon you. There's my face shining radiantly upon you. So that's Team True. So, speak, sing praises, and you will see my face will shine radiantly upon you. Remember, there is no condemnation for those who belong to me. You've already been judged. You have already been judged. But you have been judged not guilty for eternity, if you trust me. So, remember, there is no condemnation for those who belong to me, who trust me. You have been judged not guilty for all eternity. Trust me and don't be afraid, for I am your strength, song, and salvation. Did I salvage your day? You feeling a little better now? Oh yeah, we can touch on that one too, Lord. All right. Something else that's good for you guys to hear. Okay, so listen up. It's not like I'm being bossy, but it's good for you guys to hear. Entrust your loved ones to me. Okay, you guys are very concerned about the ones you love. That's very understandable. I am concerned about the ones I love as well. But entrust your loved ones to me. Release them into my protective care. Remember, they're my children too. I love them too. So entrust your loved ones to me. Release them into my protective care. They are much safer with me than in your clinging hands. So, if you let a loved one become an idol in your heart, you endanger that one as well as yourself. Do you understand that? You're endangering them and yourself when you make your loved one an idol in your heart. Because then that idol lets you down and your heart's broken, right? Ta-da. So, if you let a loved one become an idol in your heart, you endanger that person as well as yourself. Remember the extreme measures I used with Abraham and Isaac? I took Isaac to the very point of death to free Abraham from sun worship. He loved his son so much, he idolized his son. We had to break him free of that. Both Abraham and Isaac suffered terribly because of their father's undisciplined emotions. I detest idolatry, even in the form of parental love. Yeah, it gets a little hard there. But when you release your loved ones to me, you are free. Oh, now you see why it's important. Because when you release your loved ones to me, you are free now. You're free to cling to my hand. As you entrust others into my care, I am free to shower blessings on them. Okay? So, I can't shower blessings on them if you don't entrust them to me. So when you release loved ones to me, you are free. You are free to cling to my hand, and as you entrust others into my care, I am free to shower their blessings on them now. My presence will go with them wherever they go, and I will give them rest as well. This same presence stays with you as you relax and place your trust in me. Now, watch to see what I will do. Yeah, let's bring up that one again. All right. You see that right there? That is out by the moon. This is in the etherical. This in your clouds. There's my heart, but let me get this one back. So I am all around you, hovering over you, even as you seek my face. Huh. I am nearer than you dare believe, closer than the air you breathe. If my children could only recognize my presence, they would never feel lonely again. Because everybody's feeling lonely. If my children could only recognize my presence, they would never feel lonely again. They would not want to go to war again. There was so much when they recognize my presence, everything changes. I know every thought before you think it, every word before you speak it. My presence impinges on your innermost being. You can see the absurdity of trying to hide anything from me. Or can you? Can you see the absurdity of trying to hide anything from me? I don't know. Some people can't. So ask yourself this question then. Can you see the absurdity of trying to hide anything from me? It's absurd, but you can easily deceive other people and even yourself. But I read you like an open book with large print. Okay? You are an open, large print book. And you think you're hiding all your stuff from me. It's absurd. Because deep within yourself and deep within most people have some awareness of my imminent presence. And many people run from me and vehemently deny my existence because my closeness terrifies them. I have this thing where people are scared to be around me. My closeness terrifies them. Because deep within themselves, most people do have some awareness of my imminent presence. That's called your consciousness. Are you aware? Can you see colors? Can you taste stuff? You have consciousness? That is the imminent awareness. I got, what's the other card? I want the other backside of this card. Okay, so let me repeat this one. You can easily deceive other people and even yourself, but I read you like an open, large print book. Many people run from me and deny my existence because my closeness terrifies them. But my own children have nothing to fear, for I have cleansed them by my blood and clothed them in my righteousness. So, let's stop right here. If my imminent presence, if it terrifies you, well, it doesn't. You're still here. Then that must mean my own children have nothing to fear. So if you're here and you're not fearing this, you must be one of my children. Because I have cleansed you with my blood and clothed your brain in that righteousness right now, right? You're protected by my blood and by my righteousness. And be blessed by my intimate nearness. This channel, you're blessed. Do you realize how blessed you are? I'm not trying to be egotistical here. It's really something that you need to grasp. Because when you do, you live a lot better. Okay? Be blessed by my intimate nearness. And since I live in you, let me also live through you, shining my light into the darkness. When I live through you, it's living vicariously through you. When I'm doing that, I'm shining my light into the darkness. Something that's very crucial too. A lot of people get caught up in living. Let me also live through you. God wants to experience things vicariously through your senses, yet you deny him. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to taste that. I don't want to do this. I'm too worried about my health. God wants to enjoy the sunset. Stop, pull over, and enjoy the sunset. He wants to smell the flowers. Stop and smell the flowers. Let me live through you. I don't like diet soda, terrible tasting stuff all in my mouth all day. Drink something that tastes good for a change. Eat something that has some flavor. It doesn't have to be flat diet cardboard stuff. Enjoy through your senses so I may live also through you. A lot of times you deny yourself a lot of the good things in life because you're so predisposed that I gotta be a certain weight. I gotta have diet this because I'm on a diet. Why don't you enjoy life? Why don't you go out there and live? What if I told you only had 2 months left to live? Well, you got 60 days. You would probably make the most out of those 60 days. Well, you could screw your diet, right? You can get off the diet. Geez. You only had 2 weeks left to live. You could probably pick up smoking if you try a cigarette if you wanted to, right? It's not going to kill you because you only got so much. When are you going to go live? Huh? When are you going to stop with all these restrictions that you put on yourself? When are you going to let me live through you? Don't you understand your sins are forgiven? Doesn't mean go out there and murder, but it means go live. Quit denying yourself a lot of the good things in life. As we get close to the end here, you're going to regret it. You're going to look back and go, man, that whole time I could have been drinking Mountain Dew and I'm sucking on a Diet Pepsi that tasted terrible. It's important that I live in you and live through you. When you let me live through you, all of a sudden you're having real life. You're not living in this denial world where, you have to have this, you can't have a cigarette, you can't do this, it's bad for your health, this is bad for... What good? All this stuff is bad for your health. Well, what good is it if you don't have a sound mind? Forget all those other things. This is what's more important. It's having a sound mind. Your sound mind will keep your body healthy. Do you know that George Burns smoked cigars for 90 years and didn't die of lung cancer? You know people die of lung cancer that don't smoke? Yeah, see, there's all these weird things that you guys have, all these weird hang-ups. Refuse to let me live through you. You're caught up in what society tells you and other people want you, expectations out of you. Listen to that voice in your head and let me live through you. That's what the forgiveness of sins is so you can live without all the guilt. When you finally do something that's wrong, learn from it. Don't do it again. Grow and move on. Oh, that was the closer, too. Wait a sec. I got one more. I got one more we can close with right here, okay? So, when you're looking at that, a lot of people were asking questions the other night, okay? And it's hard to be able to do this. There's this phrase that when once said makes one sound crazy, right? So I can't just go saying that because it doesn't work. So just let me reassure you, I am the eternal I am. I always have been, and I always will be. In my presence, you experience love and light, peace and joy. I am intimately involved in all your moments, and I am training you to be aware of me at all times. Your assignment is to collaborate with me in this training process. I have taken up residence within you. I am central in your innermost being. Your mind goes off in tangents from its holy center time after time. But do not be alarmed by your inability to remain focused on me 100% of the time. Okay? Do not be alarmed by your inability to do that. A lot of people get caught up in that right there, in their inability to remain focused all the time. And then that becomes an idol. So do not be alarmed by your inability to remain focused all the time. Simply bring your thoughts gently back to me each time they wander. That's the real practice right there, is bringing your thoughts gently back to me each time they wander. And the quickest way to redirect your mind to me is to whisper my name. And now you have redirected your mind. Okay? I am. That's all I can say is I am. Can't say any more, but I can say I am, and it's important that you know I am. That way you get your peace, relief, joy, courage, everything that you need. Everything that you need, I do give it to you when you know who I am and you trust me. Something miraculous happens in your life. The word rapture is not in the Bible. The concept of the word rapture is not in the Bible. That concept came from Hollywood. When you read the Bible correctly, it says, when you see these things begin to happen, look up. What happens when you look up? Oh, you see clouds sometimes. Look up. You will see me coming in the clouds with power and great authority. Okay? This is me in the clouds with power and great authority. You are caught up with me in the clouds with power and great authority. You're fascinated, you're intrigued, you're caught up in the moment. That's what caught up means, not levitated up into the clouds. You are caught up with me in the clouds, power and great authority. I showed you the baby born. Remember? That's me. I'm the one with the iron rod, iron scepter. I rule with power and great authority. You are my children. If you're here still at this point of the show, you are definitely one of my children. How does that make you feel? That should make you feel 1,000% better when you look at this world and what's going on. And every time, this is your foundation. A foundation to fall back on, a foundation on which to build. One that will not crumble, one that will stand for 1,000 years. I will rule with an iron scepter, and you will, if you decide to follow, you will be a follower. I love you guys. I miss you guys. It's been so hard. Thank you for your patience with me, and just tolerance with me, because this has been hard for me to do. I've been through so many doctors and psychiatric wards, and no cooperation. Nobody has been able to help me, except for you guys. You are helping me as my therapy. Therefore, you are my children. Because if you're finding comfort in this, in my voice, in my face, you get comfort from this, well, that makes me the comforter, doesn't it? And if I am indeed the comforter, you need to go back to your Bible and research who the comforter really is. Go research who the comforter. He says, I will send a comforter. Go research who that comforter is. Okay? And you will feel comforted. Because I do love you. I do miss you. And I will be back. I am already back. Breaking headlines. Screw World War III. Breaking headlines. As soon as those headlines break, the whole world will slam on their brakes and start to think twice, and a third time, and a fourth time, before they start being idiots. Breaking news. And you guys are in on the scoop. Most people aren't. That makes you very special, doesn't it? Out of the 300 some odd million people in this country, I get 300 some odd views. Do the math, that makes you 1 in a million. It's pretty awesome. Everywhere you go, most people that you interact with have no idea about this, but you do, don't you? Doesn't that make you feel special? Don't you understand that you are special? You are a child of God when you're here at this channel, and you're seeing me and hearing me and believing me, and you're practicing these things that I'm showing you, and you're finding real relief. If you're finding that real relief, you understand that I am. All I can say is, I am. I miss you all. I love you all. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back, and I am still to come.